Mr. Reyes was a man who had worked very hard all his life. He was not born rich. In fact, he grew up in a small village where most people struggled just to make a living. But he was different. He had a dream to build a better life for himself and his family. From a young age, he learned the value of hard work and never gave up. Through years of dedication, smart decisions, and a bit of luck, he became a millionaire. His house was now a big, beautiful mansion in the city. It had many rooms, fancy furniture, expensive paintings, and even a swimming pool. People knew him as a strict man because he expected discipline and order in his life and work. In this big mansion, many people worked to keep the house clean and running smoothly. There was a gardener, a driver, a cook, and several maids. Amongst them was a young woman named Liza. She was only 19 years old, but already carried a lot of responsibility on her small shoulders. Liza was from a poor village far from the city. Her parents had died when she was very young, and she had to take care of her younger siblings. Life was not easy for her. To help her family survive, she had come to the city and taken a job as a maid in Mr. Reyes's mansion. Liza was different from many others. She did not just come to work and earn money. Deep inside, she had a dream. She wanted to study, to learn more, and to become a teacher one day. But there was a big problem. She had never finished school. When she was 14, her family's situation became worse, and she had to stop going to school to take care of her sick mother and younger siblings. Since then, she had only worked hard to provide food and shelter for her family. Still, her dream never faded. Every day, Liza worked. Tirelessly, she cleaned the floors, washed the dishes, did the laundry, and helped in the kitchen. She was quiet and respectful, never complaining even when the work was hard. But her mind was always busy with thoughts about books and learning. She often remembered her old school days and wished she could go back. The mansion was large and busy during the day. Everyone was always moving around, and the sounds of talking and laughter filled the rooms. But at night, when the house was quiet, Liza would take out a small, worn-out notebook and some old books she had borrowed from a neighbor. She would sit by the kitchen window or under the dim light of the stove, reading and writing long after everyone else had gone to bed. The nights were not easy. The light was not bright, and the chair was uncomfortable. Sometimes her eyes hurt, and her head ached from the long hours of study. But she never gave up. She believed that one day her hard work would pay off. Her dream of becoming a teacher was like a light in the darkness, guiding her every step. She studied everything she could find: math, English, science, and history. Sometimes she would practice writing letters and words she had forgotten. Other times she tried to solve problems and memorize facts. She made mistakes, but learned from them. She was determined to pass the high school equivalency exam, which would allow her to continue her education. Even though she was tired, Liza would wake up early every morning with hope. She knew that the money she earned would help her family survive another day. She sent most of her salary back to her village, helping to pay for her siblings' food, clothes, and school fees. She never told anyone about her secret studies. It was something private, something she wanted to keep safe until she was ready. Her fellow workers in the mansion knew her as a hard worker but didn't know about her dreams. Some of them thought she was just a simple maid who did her job quietly. But Liza had a fire inside her that no one could see. One night, Mr. Reyes came home earlier than usual. He had finished his work in the city and decided to return to his mansion before midnight. As he walked through the dark halls, he felt thirsty and went to the kitchen to get a glass of water. That's when he saw something he never expected. There was Liza, sitting by the small kitchen table with a book open in front of her. The soft light from a small lamp shone on her face, and her eyes were focused and serious. She was writing something in her notebook, her hand moving quickly as if she wanted to catch every word before it disappeared. Mr. Reyes stopped for a moment, surprised. He had never seen a maid studying late at night. At first, he felt a little angry. Why was she not resting? Was she not tired? Did she not know that her job was to work in the mansion, not to read books? He thought she might be wasting time or not doing her duties properly. But then, something in her face caught his attention. There was a quiet determination and hope. She looked like she was fighting against all the difficulties in her life. Instead of anger, Mr. Reyes felt respect. He asked her gently, "Why are you studying so late? Don't you have enough rest?" Liza was startled. She quickly closed her book and looked up nervously. She was afraid she would be punished or scolded. But she took a deep breath and told him the truth. She explained how she had stopped school to help her family, but she still wanted to learn. She said she was preparing for an exam that would help her go back to school. Mr. Reyes listened quietly. He did not say much that night. He only told her to rest and not to stay up too late. But inside, he was thinking about what he had seen. For days after that night, Mr. Reyes could not stop thinking about Liza. He watched her from a distance, seeing how she worked hard every day and how she spent her nights with the old books. He realized that she had more courage and strength than many people he knew. He began to admire her quietly. He wondered how many others like Liza were out there, hidden behind difficult lives, but carrying dreams inside their hearts. For the first time, Mr. Reyes felt a strong desire to help her, not just as a boss, but as someone who understood what it meant to struggle and hope. At the same time, Liza did not know what to expect. She was still careful and respectful, doing her work well and keeping her secret safe. She never imagined that someone like Mr. Reyes would notice her efforts. For her, every day was a battle, but she held on to her dream like a precious treasure. The story of that quiet night marked the beginning of something special. It was the moment when a millionaire and a young maid shared an unspoken understanding that hard work, hope, and dreams could connect people from very different worlds. Little did they know, this chance encounter would soon change both of their lives in ways neither could have imagined. One quiet evening, something happened that neither Mr. Reyes nor Liza expected. Mr. Reyes had been away on a business trip for a few days. He traveled often, meeting clients, making deals, and expanding his business empire. Despite being busy, he always made sure his mansion was well taken care of. The staff was used to his routine, and everything ran smoothly even when he was not home. That night, however, Mr. Reyes returned earlier than planned. His flight was rescheduled, and he arrived back in the city late at night. The mansion was dark and quiet when he arrived. The only sound was the ticking of a large clock in the hallway. He had been traveling for many hours, feeling tired and hungry. All he wanted was a glass of water and a moment of peace before going to bed. As he walked through the long, polished corridors of his home, he suddenly stopped near the kitchen door. From inside, he saw a small light. It was unusual for the kitchen to be lit this late. Curious, he pushed the door open quietly and stepped inside. To his surprise, there was Liza, the young maid, sitting at the small kitchen table with a book open in front of her. She was deeply focused on reading, and a thin pencil moved quickly across a worn notebook as she took notes. The soft glow of the lamp illuminated her face, showing a mix of concentration and determination. For a moment, Mr. Reyes just watched. He did not want to disturb her, but he was surprised. Seeing a maid studying at such a late hour was not something he had ever imagined. His first reaction was confusion. Was she breaking the rules? Was this allowed? Was she resting enough? Liza suddenly noticed him standing there. She was startled and quickly closed her book. Her heart began to race. What would happen now? Would she be scolded or punished? Would she lose her job? Mr. Reyes spoke softly, trying not to frighten her. "Liza, why are you studying so late? Aren't you tired? You should be resting." Liza hesitated. She looked down at her closed notebook, then back at him. After a deep breath, she decided to tell the truth. She explained that she had stopped school at a young age to help her family. She said she was studying for an exam that could help her continue her education. She wanted to pass the high school equivalency exam and hoped one day to become a teacher. Her voice was quiet, but full of hope. She spoke honestly about her dreams and the difficulties she had faced. She told him how much she wanted to learn but had no money or time to go to school. Mr. Reyes listened carefully. At first he felt a little annoyed. Why was she working so hard when she had a job to do? But then he felt something else. Respect. He saw how brave she was, studying late at night after a long day's work. He realized that Liza was not just a maid. She was someone with dreams and determination, fighting against all odds. Instead of scolding her, he told her to get some rest. Don't study too late. You need to take care of yourself. Liza nodded, thankful but nervous. She wondered what he really thought of her now. Would he still trust her? Would he understand her secret? After that night, Mr. Reyes could not stop thinking about what he had seen. He began to pay closer attention to Liza, but quietly. He noticed how she woke up early every day, worked hard without complaining, and then stayed up late, reading and writing. He admired her strength and dedication. He also began to think about his own life. He remembered the hard days of his youth when he had no money or education. He thought about how important it was for someone like Liza to have a chance to change her life. Mr. Reyes decided to learn more about her. He asked his trusted assistant to find out about Liza's background. He wanted to know why she had stopped school and how much she really wanted to study. When he heard the full story, that she had left school to take care of her sick mother and support her younger siblings, he felt a deep sympathy. For the first time, he saw Liza not just as a maid, but as a person with a story worth knowing. He admired her sacrifice and courage. It reminded him of his own struggles and the people who had helped him along the way. One day, Mr. Reyes quietly arranged for one of his friends, who was a teacher, to visit the mansion. This friend was told to come by accidentally and leave behind some educational books. Mr. Reyes hoped that if Liza found the books, she would use them to study even more. When Liza discovered the books, she was amazed. She had never seen such textbooks before. She thought it was a miracle. She was excited to read and learn new things, and her determination grew stronger. She felt that someone cared about her dreams. Even though Mr. Reyes had not spoken to her about the books or her studies, Liza felt a silent support. She worked harder than ever, practicing lessons and taking notes. She was proud of herself, but also nervous. She still kept her secret hidden from everyone else in the house. Meanwhile, Mr. Reyes continued to observe her quietly. He realized that Liza was different from many others he had met. She had a humble heart, a strong spirit, and an unbreakable will to succeed. Their relationship slowly changed, though neither spoke about it openly. Mr. Reyes no longer saw Liza just as a maid. He saw her as a young woman with hope and dreams, someone who reminded him of the journey he himself had taken to rise from poverty to success. Liza, on the other hand, continued to work diligently. She was careful not to let anyone see her studying, afraid that people might think she was wasting time. But she felt more confident knowing that Mr. Reyes had noticed her efforts. Little by little, the mansion seemed less like a place where she was only a servant, and more like a place where she could belong and grow. This small but powerful change gave her courage. Even though her life was still full of challenges, Liza felt a new strength inside her. She believed that with hard work and a little help, she could achieve her dreams. That night in the kitchen was the beginning of a new chapter for both of them. Mr. Reyes started thinking about how he could help her in a bigger way. He remembered his own struggles and how someone had once given him a chance. He wanted to give Liza the same hope. For now, he kept his thoughts to himself. But he was ready to act when the time was right. For Liza, those late-night studies became a symbol of hope. Every word she wrote, every page she read, was a step closer to a better life. She worked hard not only for herself, but for her family back home, who depended on her. Her story was one of quiet bravery, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful dreams are hidden in the smallest places, under the dim light of a kitchen lamp. After the unexpected discovery of Liza studying late at night, Mr. Reyes's thoughts kept returning to her. He couldn't forget the quiet determination in her eyes and the way she worked so hard even after a long day of chores. It was rare to see someone so dedicated, especially in circumstances as difficult as hers. Mr. Reyes was a man who had achieved great success through discipline and hard work. He understood the importance of education and opportunity better than most. He remembered his own journey from a humble background and how every chance he got helped him rise higher. Seeing Liza reminded him of the younger version of himself, hungry for knowledge and willing to sacrifice anything to improve his life. He decided to observe her more closely, but not in a way that would make her uncomfortable or feel watched. Instead, he paid attention to how she managed her days, how she balanced the heavy housework with her secret studies. He noticed that every morning, no matter how tired she looked, Liza arrived early and worked tirelessly. She never complained, and always did her job with care. But the nights were the hardest part. Mr. Reyes would occasionally catch glimpses of her sitting by the dim kitchen light, surrounded by her old books and worn notebooks. She looked small and fragile but full of courage. It was clear she was pushing herself beyond limits most people would never even try. Wanting to understand more, Mr. Reyes quietly asked his trusted assistant to find out about Liza's background. The assistant spoke to neighbors, old friends, and anyone who might know her story. What they found touched Mr. Reyes deeply. Liza was from a small village far from the city. Her family had been poor for many years, struggling with illness and lack of opportunities. When Liza was just 14, her mother fell seriously ill. The family didn't have enough money for proper treatment. To help care for her mother and support her younger siblings, Liza had to stop going to school. She gave up her dreams for the sake of her family's survival. Since then, she had worked as a maid, sending most of her earnings back home. Despite all this hardship, she never lost hope of continuing her education. She borrowed books when she could, teaching herself with limited resources. She was determined to pass the high school equivalency exam, a difficult challenge for someone without a formal school background. When Mr. Reyes learned all this, he felt a mix of sadness and admiration. He admired Liza's strength but felt sorry that someone with such potential was held back by circumstances. He thought about how different her life could be with just a little support and encouragement. He decided to act quietly at first. He didn't want to embarrass Liza or make her feel uncomfortable. He believed that help should be given gently and with respect. One day, Mr. Reyes arranged for one of his old friends, a teacher named Ms. Cruz, to visit the mansion. He told her to come for a simple meeting but also to leave some educational books behind by accident. These books were new and covered subjects Liza had only seen in old, worn copies. When Liza found the books, she was amazed. She couldn't believe someone had left these valuable books for her to find. It felt like a secret gift. She immediately began studying them with great excitement, learning new things and feeling more confident. Mr. Reyes did not tell Liza that he had arranged this. He wanted her to feel that her success was because of her own hard work and luck, not just because of him. He wanted her to believe in herself first. Over the next few weeks, Mr. Reyes watched how Liza's dedication grew stronger. She practiced more, stayed up later, and her notes became more detailed. It was clear she was preparing seriously for the exam. This quiet support was important for Liza. She was still nervous about her future and worried that she might fail. But the books gave her hope, a feeling that someone cared about her dreams, even if they didn't say it openly. Mr. Reyes, too, began thinking about a bigger role he could play in Liza's life. He remembered how many times in his own youth someone had helped him, sometimes with money, sometimes with advice, and sometimes just by believing in him. He wanted to be that person for Liza. However, he was careful. He did not want to rush or pressure her. He believed that true help should come at the right time and in the right way. Meanwhile, life in the mansion continued as usual. Liza remained, humble and hardworking. She never let anyone know about the books or her secret studies. To the other staff and to Mr. Reyes, she was still just a maid doing her duties. But inside, Liza felt a new strength. The books and the small silent support gave her courage to dream bigger. She imagined a future where she could teach children in her village and help others like her who had lost chances to study. Sometimes, when she was tired, she would look at the small collection of books and feel thankful. She promised herself she would never give up. Mr. Reyes respected this promise deeply. He admired her silence and humility. He knew that if he ever offered help, it had to be something she accepted freely and proudly. This part of their story was about patience, observation, and quiet encouragement. It showed how true kindness does not always need loud words or grand gestures. Sometimes, it is the small, thoughtful acts that make the biggest difference. Liza's story is a reminder that even when the world seems difficult, hope can be found in the smallest places. A young girl studying under a dim kitchen light can hold a future that changes not only her life, but also the lives of many others. Mr. Reyes's respect and silent support were the first steps in a journey that would eventually bring about change. It was a journey built on trust, understanding, and the belief that everyone deserves a chance. As the days passed, both Liza and Mr. Reyes grew closer in an unspoken way. They shared a connection that needed no words, a connection of dreams, hopes, and the courage to face life's challenges. This connection would soon lead to an important decision, one that would surprise them both and change their lives forever. After weeks of quietly watching and thinking, Mr. Reyes finally decided it was time to do more than just observe. He had seen Liza's determination, her tireless efforts, and the courage she carried in her heart. Now he wanted to offer her real help, help that could change her life for good. But Mr. Reyes was a careful man. He knew that sudden offers or charity could embarrass or offend someone like Liza. She was proud, humble, and worked hard every day. Any help he gave needed to respect her dignity and independence. One evening, as the sun was setting and the mansion was slowly growing quiet, Mr. Reyes called Liza to the study. The study was a large room filled with books, comfortable chairs, and a big wooden desk. It was a place where Mr. Reyes did most of his important work and held meetings. Liza was nervous as she entered. She wondered why she had been asked to come. Had she done something wrong? But Mr. Reyes greeted her kindly and smiled. That small smile gave her hope. "Liza," he said gently, "I've seen how hard you work and how much you want to learn. I respect your dedication. I want to help you. But before I do, I want to hear from you. Tell me about your dreams. What do you want to achieve?" Liza was surprised and touched. No one had ever asked her about her dreams before, not even the people closest to her. She took a deep breath and told Mr. Reyes everything. How she wanted to finish her education, pass the exam, and become a teacher. She wanted to help children in her village have better opportunities, just like she wished she had. Mr. Reyes listened carefully, his eyes kind. When she finished, he said, "Your dreams are beautiful and important. I want to help you make them come true." He explained that he would pay for her education and support her while she studied. He promised she could take time off from work if needed to prepare for the exam and attend classes. He also told her she could come to him with any problems or questions. Liza was overwhelmed with emotion. She had never imagined that someone like Mr. Reyes would care so much. She felt grateful but also afraid. Was it really true? Would she be able to live up to this chance? Mr. Reyes saw the hesitation in her eyes and reassured her. "I believe in you, Liza. You have already shown great courage and strength. This is your chance to change your life." From that day on, things began to change for Liza. Mr. Reyes arranged for a tutor to come to the mansion several times a week. The tutor was patient and kind, helping Liza with difficult subjects and explaining concepts she had struggled to understand on her own. Liza studied harder than ever. She was determined not to waste this opportunity. She woke up early to finish her chores, and then spent hours with the tutor, learning and practicing. She took notes carefully and asked many questions. The staff at the mansion noticed the change in Liza. She seemed happier and more confident. Sometimes they saw her smiling softly as she read a book or practiced writing. She was no longer just a maid. She was a student with a bright future. Despite the challenges, Liza never forgot her responsibilities. She continued to work diligently, balancing her duties with her studies. It was not easy. Some days were long and tiring. There were moments when she wanted to give up, feeling overwhelmed by the pressure. But whenever she felt weak, she remembered Mr. Reyes's words and her own dreams. She thought about her family back home and the children she hoped to teach someday. These thoughts gave her strength. Mr. Reyes kept his promise. He respected her time and space, never interfering but always available when she needed guidance. He sometimes left encouraging notes or books on her desk, small reminders that she was not alone. As months passed, Liza's confidence grew. She began to believe in herself more. She saw that education was not just about passing exams but about understanding the world and opening doors to new possibilities. One day Mr. Reyes invited Liza to attend a special seminar on education held in the city. It was a place where teachers, students, and experts gathered to discuss new ideas and methods. Liza was nervous but excited. At the seminar, she met many people who shared her passion for learning. She listened to stories about schools in remote areas, programs to help poor children, and ways to make education better. It inspired her deeply. Mr. Reyes watched her with pride. He saw how her eyes shone with excitement and hope. He knew that supporting Liza was one of the best decisions he had ever made. Back at the mansion, Liza continued her preparations for the exam. She practiced writing essays, solving problems, and answering questions. She worked with the tutor, reviewed old books, and sometimes stayed up late. Despite the difficulties, she never lost faith. She believed that her hard work would pay off. Finally, the day of the exam arrived. Liza felt nervous but ready. She remembered every lesson, every note, and every encouraging word Mr. Reyes had given her. She took the exam with determination, knowing this was a step toward her dream. After the exam, she waited anxiously for the results. The days felt long and slow. She tried to keep busy with her chores, but her mind was always on the outcome. When the results were finally announced, Liza could hardly believe her eyes. She had passed. Not only that, but she scored very well, better than she had hoped. The news spread quietly through the mansion. Mr. Reyes congratulated her warmly. He said, "You did it, Liza. Your hard work and courage have paid off." Liza was overwhelmed with joy. She thanked Mr. Reyes for believing in her and supporting her. She knew this was only the beginning of her journey, but it was a very important step. The success also brought changes in the mansion. Other staff began to look up to Liza. She became an example of how hard work and determination could lead to success, no matter where you started. Mr. Reyes realized that by helping Liza, he was not only changing her life, but also inspiring everyone around them. The mansion was no longer just a place of work. It had become a place of hope and growth. This part of the story shows how kindness, respect, and genuine support can transform a person's life. It teaches us that when we believe in others and give them a chance, amazing things can happen. Liza's journey was not easy, but with the help of Mr. Reyes, she was able to overcome obstacles and move closer to her dreams. Her story reminds us that education is a powerful tool, and everyone deserves the chance to learn and grow. As the days passed, both Liza and Mr. Reyes understood that their lives had changed forever. Their connection was deeper now, not just an employer and maid, but two people who shared a vision of hope, hard work, and a better future. And so, the story continues, with new challenges, new lessons, and new dreams waiting to be realized. If you'd like me to continue with Part 5 or make any adjustments, just me know. After passing the exam with excellent results, Liza's life began to change in ways she had only dreamed of. The hard work, long nights of study, and sacrifices were finally paying off. But this was not the end of her journey. It was only the beginning. Mr. Reyes, seeing how much Liza had grown and how dedicated she was, wanted to support her even further. He knew that passing the exam was a big achievement, but the real challenge was what came next: building a future and making her dreams come true. One day Mr. Reyes called Liza to his study again. This time his expression was warm and full of pride. "Liza," he said kindly, "you have done something very special. You have worked hard and succeeded. Now, I want to help you take the next step. If you want, I can help you get into a teacher training program. That way, you can learn how to become a real teacher and help many children in your village." Liza's heart raced with joy and surprise. She had never imagined that this dream could come true so soon. She felt thankful and a little nervous. What would it be like to study in a formal program? Could she handle it? Mr. Reyes reassured her. "I will support you all the way. You won't be alone. We will find the best program for you, and I will make sure you have everything you need." Liza accepted eagerly. She wanted to make the most of this opportunity. She knew it would be hard, but she was ready to work harder than ever before. Mr. Reyes arranged everything quietly. He contacted a good teacher training college in the city and applied on Liza's behalf. He also made sure that her schedule at the mansion would allow her to attend classes and study. When Liza started the program, she was both excited and nervous. The other students were younger, and many had come from different backgrounds. At first, she felt out of place, but she remembered all the struggles she had overcome and the support she had. She studied with focus and determination. Every class was a new challenge, but she embraced it. She asked questions, made friends, and learned how to teach children in ways she had never imagined. Back at the mansion, Mr. Reyes continued to support her quietly. He gave her time off when she needed it, and often checked on her progress. He saw how much she was growing, not just as a student, but as a person. Liza's family back in the village also felt the change. When she called them, she spoke with more confidence and hope. Her mother, who had once been very sick, was getting better. Her siblings were inspired by Liza's success and wanted to study as well. Sometimes Liza would return to her village during breaks. She would talk to the children, telling them about the importance of education and encouraging them to dream big. She wanted to be a role model, someone who showed that even difficult beginnings could lead to great success. Meanwhile, life at the mansion had also changed. The other staff looked up to Liza as a symbol of hope and hard work. They respected her not just for what she did, but for who she had become. Mr. Reyes felt proud every time he saw Liza. He remembered the night he first caught her studying and how far she had come since then. He realized that helping her was not just a kind act. It was an investment in a better future. One day, after completing her teacher training program, Liza received a special offer. A school in her village needed a teacher, and they wanted her to come back and work there. This was the moment she had dreamed of. She talked to Mr. Reyes about it, feeling both excitement and responsibility. She knew it would be hard to leave the city and the mansion, but her heart belonged to her village and family. Mr. Reyes supported her decision. He said, "You have a big heart, Liza. Go and make a difference. You have the power to change many lives." Liza returned to her village. With pride and determination, she started working at the school, teaching children with patience and love. She used all the knowledge she had gained to make learning fun and meaningful. Her students loved her. They saw her as someone who understood their struggles and cared deeply about their future. Liza became more than a teacher. She became a beacon of hope for the entire community. Over time, Liza's story spread beyond her village. People admired her courage, dedication, and success. She inspired others to believe that education could change lives. Mr. Reyes continued to support her from afar. He visited sometimes, bringing books and resources for the school. He also helped organize programs to improve education in the village. Their relationship had grown into a deep friendship, based on respect and shared dreams. They had both learned from each other the power of kindness, belief, and hard work. Liza's journey showed that no matter where you start, with determination and support, you can achieve great things. It was a story of hope, courage, and the beauty of helping others rise. This final part of the story reminds us that true success is not just about personal achievement, but about making a positive difference in the lives of others. Liza's life had changed forever, but she never forgot where she came from or the people who helped her. She remained humble, kind, and dedicated to her mission. And Mr. Reyes, he found joy in knowing he had helped someone reach their dreams. He understood that real wealth is measured not by money, but by the lives we touch and the hope we give. Together, their story is a powerful reminder that sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to change the course of a life, and that life can then change the world.